Hey there. Thank you for joining me for our devotional today. Um, this is a devotional from Rabbi Zacharias International Ministries from their Slice of Infinity daily devotional. And it's called Alienation and Embrace. And it talks about how isolated we sometimes feel. And it's very easy to feel that way, especially now. Before, it's very likely that you were around people a lot. But with COVID, a lot of people have quarantined or isolated themselves. A lot of business and other meetings are happening virtually, so you're not actually having any physical contact with other people. In fact, you're not supposed to be having any physical contact with them. You're supposed to kind of keep your distance and not be like physically touching anyone else. It is very easy to feel very alone. And not only that, but with all the stuff around COVID and everything else that's been going on, it's very easy to get so worn down that you start to do some things that leave you just wondering what on earth is going on. Like, you're not the same person that you used to be, and you're wondering what's happening. You're wondering why you're acting the way that you are. You can even look at yourself and feel like you don't even know who you're looking at anymore. And with everything that's going on, with the natural disasters, with COVID, with the upcoming election, everything going through the news, the continuing cycle of hate and injustice and chaos, it's really easy to wonder where God is in all of this. And it just feels so alone. Like God has completely abandoned us. Well, the devotional says really that's the three ways that we get alienated. We're alienated from others, we're alienated from ourselves, and we get alienated from God. And sometimes it's just kind of life. Like, everyone just kind of seems to drift, and you're in a crowded room and you feel alone. Sometimes you just look and wonder how you became the person you are now. Sometimes you just kind of notice that it feels like God isn't quite as close to you as you once thought God was. But these are the three ways that we'll feel alienated and we'll feel alone. And the devotional notes a story that's told in Matthew, Mark, and Luke about a man who felt all three of these at once. This man was possessed by demons, which is his separation from God. The demons gave him the name that he now took for himself, so he's now alienated from himself. And he is living among the tombs. He's living outside of the city. No one will go anywhere near him because of the demons, so now he's alienated from others as well. And for most of us, because our alienation isn't quite as extreme, and we aren't possessed by demons, we think, you know what, if I just bear down, maybe I just need to get out there. Just get out and get to see some other people. And I'll begin connecting with others. Maybe you say, I'm just going to try to write out and plan out who I want to become. And I'll just work really hard and I'm going to become the person I want to be to fix your alienation with yourself. And maybe you think if you're a good enough person, if you pray often enough, if you say the right prayers, if you read your Bible enough, if you believe enough of the right things in the right ways, and you do enough of the right things, then you will fix your alienation from God. And there are things that we can do that will make our alienation worse, and there are things that we can do to lessen it. But in the end, the devotional notes, it took an encounter with Jesus for the man to be fully restored. It takes meeting Jesus to truly fix that separation that we have. It takes that to fix our separation from others, because we'll try to use that to fill holes in ourselves that they can't fill. It takes God to fix our separation from ourselves, because as much as we try to be the people we want to be, something always gets twisted in us, and we're never quite going to measure up. And it definitely takes it to fix our separation from God, which really is kind of at the root of the problem of all of these issues. It was for the demon-possessed man, and it is for all of us. And in the devotional, it says this: the restoration process remains the same today. Until we are properly related to God, our true identity and potential will always elude us. No virtual reality or gadget can even begin to address the problem, for they only give back to us what we have put into them. So it's not that those are bad things. They're just tools, but they can't actually fix the problem. They're like the message in a bottle which a castaway on a remote island excitedly received, only to realize that it was a cry for help that he himself had sent out months before. As Augustine prayed, "You have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until they find their rest in you." We are finite creatures created for a relationship with an infinite being, and no finite substitute can ever meet our deepest needs. Trying to meet our real needs without Christ is like trying to satisfy our thirst with salty water. The more we drink, the thirstier we become. This is a sure path toward various sorts of addictions. But when we turn toward the bread of life who offers himself up, calling each one of us to the table by name, loneliness is countered with the hope of embrace. We become members of God's extended family. With Abraham, we look forward to the city with foundations whose architect and builder is God. Day by day, we learn to trust God as we travel with others along a heavily trodden path that never disappoints. Friends and relatives may desert us, but we are never alone. We may grieve and lament, but never like those without hope. We have peace and joy within, and even in our own hour of need, others can still find their way to God through us. I think this is a time, even still, even though we are, by and large, getting past a lot of the stuff with the pandemic, I do think this is a time where we feel this alienation from others and from ourselves and from God very deeply. And this devotional was a reminder, you fix that with God. And God will likely direct you to do certain things to fix how you feel separated from others and yourself, but we turn toward God, and God gives us that foundation, gives us that base, so that our relationships with others and our relationship with ourselves can actually do what it's always meant to do. So I hope this week that you begin to do that. Begin looking for that way out, so that you're not just kind of fooling yourself. You're not just kind of making things up, but you are truly finding your way. You get that foundation. It's like stepping off of a treadmill, I guess. So instead of just running on that treadmill over and over again, relationship after relationship, self-help attempt after self-help attempt, you step off the treadmill. And then some of those things start to work, and the relationships start actually feeding you, and the self-help things start making you better, but none of them actually give you that solid ground that can only be found in God. But God is near. Jesus is named Emmanuel because it means God with us. And if you turn and look to God, you will find that help that you've been thirsting for. So thank you for joining me for today's devotional. God bless you guys. Take care.